Hello, let's find out together the world of the Roman Empire and what are the events of the empires under the emperors. But first of all, before we proceed, my name is Shara Marie S. Arabia, the last reporter of Group 4. So now let's proceed the third topic of the world Roman Empire, which is the Crisis and the Late Empire. So we have the five goods emperor of the Pax Romana. First, Marcus Cuseius Nerva or tinatawag na Nerva. Nerva reformed land laws in favor of the poor, revised taxation. Si Nerva ang nagpasimula ng pagmamana ng katungkulan sa pagiging emperador. Nagpamahagi siya ng lupa sa mga mahihirap. Pinagtuunan rin niya ng pansin ang edukasyon. Pangalawa, Caesar Nerva Trajanus, or it is called Trajan. Trajan expanded the empire to its greatest extent, implement the construction of many public. Third, Caesar Trajanus Hadrianus, or tinatawag na Hadrian. Si Hadrian ay pinalakas ng hukbong Roman at pinatatag ang hangganan ng imperyo tulad ng halimbawa sa pagpapagawa ng Hadrian Wall sa Roman Britain. Pang-apat, Antoninus Pius. Antoninus Pius promote art and science, construction of public works, legal reforms and new provisions for. Or si Antoninus Pius, napanatili niya ang kasaganahan at kapayapaan sa imperyo. Sa kanyang panahon, walang naitalang digmaan, rebelyon at pagmamalupit sa imperyo. And last, Marcus Aurelius. Si Marcus Aurelius ang isang pilosopong Stoic na nagtaguyod ng pamumuhay ayon sa banal na kalooban ng Diyos. Sa kanyang kamatayan noong 180 CE, nagwakas ang Pax Romana at nagsimulang humina ang Imperyong Roman. Naging maluluho at mahihinang pinuno ang mga sumunod na emperador kay Marcus Aurelius. Ang malimit na pagsiklab ng mga digmaang sibil sa tuwing magpapalit ng pinuno ay nakaapekto ito hindi lamang sa politikang Roman, kung hindi maging sa ekonomiyang ito. Malaking pasanin din sa imperyo ang malimit na pananalakay ng mga tribong Germanian or Germanic sa mga hangganan nito upang maprotektahan ang imperyo. Gumugol ng malaking halaga ang pamahalaan. Isang dahilan ito sa paglaganap ng kahirapan at kagutuman sa imperyo. Subalit naging nanumbalik ang kasiglahan ng Imperyong Roman sa pamumuno nila Diocletian and Constantine. In these two emperors of Diocletian and Constantine, extended imperial control by strengthening and expanding the administrative bureaucracies of the Roman Empire. The economic and social reforms by Diocletian and Constantine included a new government structure, a rigid economic and social system, and a new state religion. They divided the empire into prefectures to enable them govern well. Constantine himself constructed a new capital city. Diocletian was a Roman emperor who ruled from 284 to 305 CE, or the Common Era. The Diocletian's reforms, which is tried to control inflation by setting prices for goods, or pagtutupad ng edict prices na nagtakda ng pinakamataas na presyo ng mga produkto, and froze jobs. No one could switch professions or ipinagbawal rin niya ang pagpapalit ng mga mamamayan ng hanapbuhay at pag-iwan sa mga kanilang lupang sakahan, and passed laws to persecute the Christians. And last, divided the empire into the Greek-speaking East and the Latin-speaking West. Matapos mapasakamay ni Emperador Constantine ang kanlurang bahagi ng Imperyong Roman, ay muli niyang napagbuklod ang Imperyong Roman, and this is the Constantine reforms. Continuous reforms of Diocletian's legalized Christianity, gave the city a new name, Constantinople, moved the capital from Rome to the Greek city of Byzantium, protected the city with massive walls and filled it with imperial buildings like Rome. So si Constantine ang unang Kristiyanong emperador ng Rome. Tulad ni Diocletian, pinagtuunan din ng pansin ni Constantine ang silangang bahagi ng imperyo. Ipinagpatuloy din niya ang mga reformang ipinatupad ni Diocletian. Sa mga panahong ito, unti-unting nalipat ang katanyagan at kapangyarihan ng imperyo mula sa Rome sa kanlurang Imperyong Roman tungo sa kabisera ng silangang Imperyong Roman. Noong 330 CE or Common Era, inilipat niya ang kabisera ng silangang Imperyong Roman sa Byzantium. Na kalaunan ang lugar na ito ay tinagurian ang lungsod ni Constantinople bilang parangal kay Constantine. And this is the map of the Byzantine Empire, Reforms Map, and Constantinople. Tuluyang humina ang Imperyong Roman nang salakayin ito ng tribong Germanic mula sa hilagang bahagi ng imperyo noong mga taong 300 CE or Common Era. Bagamat nabilang sa iba't ibang tribo, pinagsaluhan ng mga pangkat ang wikang Germanic. Tinaguriang sila ng mga Roman na barbaro na nangangahulugang hindi sibilisado. The end of the Western Empire. Sinalakay ng mga Visigoths sa pamumuno ni Alaric noong 410 CE or Common Era. Kalaunan ay nagtungo sa Gaul at Spain ang pangkat na ito at doon ay nagtatag ng kaharian. In this first picture, Alaric, chief of the Visigoths from 395 and leader of the army that sacked Rome in August 410. An event that symbolized the fall of the Western Roman Empire. And the second picture, which is the Attila, king of the Huns. He was one of the greatest of the barbarian rulers who assailed the Roman empires, invading the southern Balkan provinces and Greece and the Gaul and Italy. So nagtungo ang mga Ostrogoth sa Italy noong 488 CE or the Common Era. Doon sila nagtatag ng kaharian sa pamumuno ni Theodoric the Great noong mga huling taon ng ika-5 siglo. Sa pamumuno ni Attila ay sinalakay ng mga Han ang Rome noong 452 CE or Common Era. Subalit sa pagkamatay ni Attila ay hindi nila tuluyang nasakop ang Rome. Nagtungo naman ang mga Vandal sa Spain at Africa. Sa pamumuno ni Genseric ay sinakop ng pangkat na ito ang Rome noong 455 CE. Sinalakay rin ng pangkat ng mga Goths at Anglo-Saxons ang Roman Britain noong ika-5 siglo ng Common Era. Nagtatag naman ang mga Frank ng kaharian sa Gaul. Dahil dito, nawala ng kapangyarihan ang emperador ng Roman sa malaking bahagi ng imperyong nalimitahan din ang kanyang impluensya sa Rome. At tuluyang bumagsak ang Rome noong 476 Common Era nang salakayin ito ni Odoacer. Si Odoacer, a leader of Germanic mercenary army hired by Rome, and he overthrew of Romulus Augustus, is traditionally seen as marking the end of the Western Roman Empire as well as ancient Rome. Isang mandirigmang German na naging unang hari ng barbaro si Odoacer. Pinatalsik niya sa trono ang huling emperador ng mga Rome na si Romulus Augustus. Ang pangyayaring ito ang nagpabagsak sa kanlurang imperyo ng Roman. And now, let's proceed the fourth topic of the World Roman Empire, which is transformation of the Roman world, the development of Christianity. The rise of Christianity marked a fundamental break with the dominant values of the Greco-Roman world. To understand the rise of Christianity, we must first examine both the religious environment of the Roman world and the Jewish background from which Christianity emerged. The religious world of the Roman Empire. The Roman state religion focused on the worship of a pantheon of Greco-Roman gods and goddesses, including Juno, the patron goddess of Roman Minerva. Minerva was the ancient Roman goddess of wisdom and war. The goddess of craftspeople, Mars, the god of war. Mars, ancient Roman deity in importance second only to Jupiter. And Jupiter, Optimus Maximus, is the best and greatest. Jupiter Optimus Maximus was one of Jupiter's most important titles, meaning the best and greatest, who became the patron deity of Rome and assumed a central place in the religious life of the city. Roman religion. Roman religion was a complex mix of beliefs and practices that evolved over centuries of interaction with different cultures and peoples. The Romans viewed religion as a contractual relationship with the gods, who could grant favors or inflict punishments depending on the human actions and the signs of their will. Augustus revived traditional Roman religious festivals and ceremonies to bring back the Roman state religion. It focused on the worship of a number of gods and goddesses, including Jupiter, Juno, Minerva, and Mars, based on the Greek Olympian deities. Beginning with Augustus, emperor, often were declared gods. The Roman religion believed that observing the proper rituals brought into right relationship with the gods, which guaranteed peace and prosperity. They also believed that their success and empire building meant the gods favored them. The Romans were tolerant of local religions and worship. Many Romans were drawn to the religions of the eastern areas they had conquered. Judaism in the Empire. Jewish people believed there's only one God who has established a covenant or special agreement with them. Their God communicates to beliefs through prophets and rewards good deeds while also punishing evil. And that's the Judaism in the Empire. The rise of Christianity. Christianity started as a small and obscure movement among some Jews in the Roman province of Judea in the 1st century Common Era. It faced opposition and persecution from the Roman authorities and other religious. In 313 Common Era, the Emperor Constantine granted Christianity legal status and favored it over other faiths. In the rise of Christianity, Jesus of Nazareth was a Palestinian Jew who grew up in Galilee, an important center of the militant zealots. Jesus' name was simple. He reassured his fellow Jews that he did not plan to undermine their traditional religion. The spread of Christianity. Some of Jesus' disciples may also have preserved some of the sayings of the Master in writing and would have passed on personal memories that became the basis of the written Gospels. The Good News concerning Jesus of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which by the end of the 1st century Common Era had become the authoritative record of Jesus' life and teachings and formed the core of the New Testament. So we have the outline of the spread of Christianity. Christianity was appealing because accepted everyone, poor and rich alike, and provided an afterlife. Second, it was spread by the apostles, including Paul, throughout the Roman Empire. And last, the Roman government viewed Christianity as a Jewish sect. So, as you can see in this picture, Christ with the apostles, 4 Common Era century wall painting from the catacombs. In this picture, Jesus and his apostles, pictured is a 4th century Common Era fresco from a Roman catacomb depicting Jesus and his apostles. Catacombs were underground cemeteries where early Christians buried their dead. Christian tradition holds that in times of imperial repression, Christians withdrew to the catacombs to pray and hide. Triumph of Christianity. The Triumph of Christianity, Bart Ehrman, a master explainer of Christian history, texts, and traditions, shows how a religion whose first believers were 20 or so illiterate day laborers in a remote part of the empire because of the official religion of Rome, converting some 30 million people in just 4 centuries. Christianity grew slowly in the 1st century, took root in the 2nd, and by the 3rd had spread widely. Why was the new faith able to attract so many followers? First, the Christian message had much to offer the Roman world. The promise of salvation, made possible by Jesus' death and resurrection. The hierarchy of the Roman Catholic. Hierarchy of order is the orderly arrangement of ranks and orders of the clergy in one apostolic body to carry out the sacramental and pastoral ministry of the Church. It comprises the Pope, cardinals, archbishops, bishops, priests, deacons, and laity the people. Pope is the leader of the Catholic Church, and the cardinals leading bishops and members of the College of Cardinals, and the archbishops they oversee large areas of churches called archdioceses. Bishops are ministers who hold the full sacrament of holy orders, and a priest is a Baptist man who has received the sacrament of holy orders, and the deacons, obtained minister of the Catholic Church, and the laity of people, members of the Italy belong to the same religion and map the same benefits through living a life of faith and devotion as the members of the clergy. And now, let's proceed the 5th topic of the World Roman Empire, which is a comparison of the Roman and Han empires. Or, ito ang tinatawag na pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng Imperyong Romano at Han. At the beginning of the first millennium Common Era, 2 great empires, the Roman Empire in the west and the Han Empire in the east, dominated large areas of the world, although there was little contact between them. The 2 empires exhibited some remarkable similarities, both lasted for centuries, and both were extremely successful in establishing centralized. So we have the map of the Roman and Han Empire. The two great empires, the Roman Empire in the west and the Han Empire in the east. The two emperors of the west and east, Hadrian and Liu Bang. Both were in the western margin of the civilized Ecumene, the Greek states and the eastern Chinese states respectively, and were viewed as semi-barbaric. The 2 great empires with strong central governments dominated much of ancient world. The Roman Empire in the west and the Han Empire in the east. Shown here are 2 emperors from these empires. The Roman Emperor Hadrian, who ruled from 117 to 138, was the 3rd of the 5 good emperors. He had been adopted by the Emperor Trajan to serve as his successor. Rivals in the civil wars that followed the death of the first emperor of Qin, Liu Bang, who is known historically by his title of Han Gaozun, was the first emperor of the Han Dynasty, which ruled China for 400 years. Han Dynasty, the rapidly advanced Chinese technology and created the Han Dynasty. The rapidly advanced Chinese technology and created the cultural and political foundations for much of East Asia. Roman Empire. The Romans had different engineering accomplishments than that of the Han. They laid down a legal code that forms the basis of most Western legal codes. Despite the differences, one major inescapable similarities remains. Both empires eventually faced overwhelming problems. Both suffered from overexpansion, and both fortified their long borders with walls, forts, and military garrisons to guard against invasions of nomadic people. Both empires were periodically beset by invasions and nomadic peoples. The Han dynasty was weakened by the incursions of the Xiongnu, and the Western Roman Empire eventually collapsed in the face of incursions by the Germanic peoples. And this is all my topic. Thank you.